Hi, everybody. Welcome to the YouTube video for week 12. This coming week, in week 12, we during our Zoom class, we will be devoting most of the time to the George Orwell essay, Politics in the English Language. We will be discussing it. I want to go over some terms that will be useful to you. And then we're going to do Professor Sultana's YouTube video exercise, which I think you'll like. And we'll be doing that in breakout rooms on Thursday. So we have a full class on Thursday already. I guess we'll call it Orwell Day, right? So for that reason, I need to start discussing the compare and contrast essay, and I'm going to do that in this video very briefly. Okay. So let me share my screen here. Hang on. So let me, before I do that, let me do one thing here. Okay. All right. Now, share screen. Good. All right. So I've posted some resources on under course documents to help you with the compare and contrast essay. First of all, I put there's a blank of the Venn diagram that you'll be using. So some of you may have seen this in high school. I don't know, but if you've never seen this, you'll become familiar with it in this class. There are also two web pages put here to help you. There is the comparing and contrasting web page from University of North Carolina, which in fact, among other things, gives a simple example of how to do a Venn diagram using the example of comparing and contrasting two pizza joints. So you can take a look at that. I may come back to this briefly if we have time. And then there's one other web page here on developing your thesis statement for your compare and contrast essay. I looked at several resources on the internet about these theses for compare and contrast, and I found this was one of the better ones. It explains the two different kinds of thesis statements that you can use for a compare and contrast essay. I'll get to this in a moment. When I get to the assignment sheet, you'll see what I mean. Let me show you. So I've posted the assignment sheet with the assignments in, let me show you, in week 12, this coming week. You will have a Venn diagram and a tentative thesis statement due by Sunday the 14th at 11:59. So once again, I put the blank Venn diagram here, all right, which I'll explain that more shortly. And then here is the assignment sheet. I'm going to show you this in a moment using my own Adobe Acrobat. Let me just show you here. You have a first draft due on the 21st. I put the assignment sheet here also, so it's easy for you to find. And then the revision will not be due until December 12th, because we have, in between the first draft and the revision, we have Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to do the assignment on Thanksgiving. So. All right, on Thanksgiving weekend. And then the week after that, we have you have well, you don't have to, but there is a practice final exam. It doesn't figure into your grade. I'm suggesting you try practice final exam. I think it will help you. So we'll have Thanksgiving, we'll have the practice final exam, and then on the 12th, your revision of the compare and contrast essay. That's right before the end there. It's 2 days before the reading day. So, all right. So let me go to, let me stop the share here. And let's go to, let me share the Adobe Acrobat. There we go. So this is the assignment sheet you're going to find where I just showed you on Blackboard. I don't really have time to read the whole thing here. I'm going to ask you to do that. And we'll probably in the class after Orwell Day, we'll go over this again, you know. But a couple of this highlights here. Your argumentative essay had elements of compare and contrast in it. I'm sure most of you noticed that, right? We were comparing 2 points in time using 2 essays written, one in 63, one in 2020. And we did what is called an evaluative thesis statement, where you state a position. You know, it was an argumentative essay, so that certainly needed to be a component. So, so there is another way to do a thesis statement for compare and contrast essay. That's called an explanatory thesis, where you compare and contrast the two subjects, but you don't take a position in favor of either one. But by the same token, it shouldn't just express something obvious. Your thesis statement should not just express something obvious. And I write that down here. It should say something interesting and worthwhile that you've discovered when comparing and contrasting the 2 essays. So you can say, you know, Gatto and Onion. I'm so, you know, maybe I was assuming that you all remembered what I told you in class, but some of you may not, and there's no reason you should have. The 2 essays we're going to be comparing and contrasting are the Gatto Against School and the Onion Social Class and the Hidden Curriculum Work. So I think already you can see there are similarities between these 2 essays, but again, some differences. So perfect. These are 2 perfect candidates for compare and contrast. Plus, I found that the class seemed to be interested in these 2 essays. So again, you know, that'll help make this assignment more enjoyable for you. Well, I guess enjoyable is a strong word, but you know. Yeah. Okay. So yes. So this is, I want you to read this over. A lot of this is the same as it was for the argumentative essay. Okay. And you can see now I've put in my in writing in bold, no block quotes. Most of this is pretty much the same. You'll see. So the three components of this. So the first one, as I showed you on Blackboard, the Venn diagram, tentative thesis statement. I want that Sunday the 14th. All right. And I will be discussing that in a couple of minutes, as I said here. In the first draft, and again, all the instructions here are basically the same as they were for the argumentative essay. First draft, November 21st. Final revision, December 12th. The same thing. You got that 15% of your grade, 25% is first draft, 75% is for the revision. And yeah, so again, this is another big chunk of grade here. This revision of the compare contrast, it's 11.25%, whatever it is. So, all right. So please take a look at this assignment sheet as soon as possible. And I want to now go back to the Blackboard where I have. So, okay. So first of all, but for those of you who are not familiar, Venn diagram, you can probably imagine, most of you are probably have an idea in your head of what this means, right? Even if you've never done it. You've got, this is this circle here is one thing you are comparing and contrasting, and this is the other thing. Okay, so this could be Gatto's essay. This could be Anyan's essay. So here you would put, these are things that are, well, let's start here. So these are, in here you would put things that are in common to essays, okay? And then you would put, how I would do it, I mean, I would put related points, but things that contrast, like try to put them sort of in the same position on the in these sections here, so that you can follow what you did later on, right? So so things that are only in, take one aspect of like, so let's just say social class, right? It's kind of broad, but this is an example of social class. So, you know, Gatto might say one thing about social class, but Anyan says something else. So, you know, put what Gatto says here and put what Anyan says here, and then later on, if you choose to make that point one of your points for the for your essay, then that would be a paragraph where you contrast, all right? So you'd have Gatto's take on it and Anyan's take on it. Right? Then there'll be paragraphs where you compare where there are similarities between the two essays. Let me give you, okay, so now I think it's time for that University of North Carolina, because they have a simple, and read this on your own time too, but they have the two pizza joints, right? Maybe I can I can blow this, I can do a zoom, right? 100 and, yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Yeah, so you can see they both serve pizza, they both have unusual ingredients and similar prices, but Peppers, it's in downtown Chapel Hill, Amante downtown Carver. We're talking about North Carolina now, right? So you can see it's locations, right? You know, put on the same, basically on at the same, in the same position in these sections here, but there's a difference, right? Peppers doesn't deliver, Amante does deliver. So there's a contrast between, there's a contrast in regard to delivery, and then also seating in each of the restaurants. It's a pretty good, it's a pretty simple but pretty good example, I think, just to say it's easy to remember in your head when you're comparing Gatto's essay and Anyan's essay. All right. Yes. So, and then the other thing you want to do is, and I should probably make this go back to 100%. Right? There we go. You also want to take a look at this this webpage here. Now, as I said, for our argumentative essay, you've already done an evaluative thesis. You didn't know it at the time, but you are. So, example, although wind turbines and solar panels both create less greenhouse gases than fossil fuels, solar panels are much more environmentally friendly. Now, that can be argued, just as you argued, well, I think things are worse now for African Americans than they were in 1963, or I think they're better. It could be argued, right? So, same here. Or paleo diet is all the rage, but studies show that a balanced diet that is rich in whole grains is healthier. That can be argued, especially people who are on the paleo diet might argue that, right? Okay, but for this essay, so you've done this already. So now we're going to do an explanatory thesis statement for this compare and contrast. So you're not going to take a position, but you want it to be interesting, right? So while both wind turbines and solar panels have their own shortcomings, both offer a number of advantages over traditional energy sources. So then the reader's going to say, oh, well, what's that? And then you got to read your book, then you go on with the rest of your essay. carbohydrate free, whole grain diet experts agree on one thing: limiting refined sugars is the key to it. So they agree. So there's really nothing to argue here. But it's interesting. Oh, so even though I cut down on refined sugars, so great. So this is the kind of thing we're going to be doing when you compare Gatto and Onion essays. I think am I over time here? I think I'm running out of time as usual. So you want to so basically you're going to go through Gatto's essay, Onion's essay, and find the I'm sorry, I want the other. Yeah. Find the similarities in their arguments. Find differences in arguments, but again, a related topic, subject, right? The terminology with comparative just gets a little confusing sometimes. Right? It confuses me sometimes. I think we would call these points, and we'll get to this. It's going to be a point by point compare and contrast essay that we're going to be doing. So these would be called points. So one point is location, right? So you can see as far as location, we have a contrast, right? And then as far as what they serve, we have a comparison, right? All right. So I'll give you a reminder about this on Thursday and an email. So what you're going to do for following Sunday is you're going to, let me just go one more time here. You're going to fill this in, just as I told you, however you want to do it. Print it, do it in pen, scan it, and send it to me. Well, upload it to Blackboard. You can fill it in with one of those commenting tools in Adobe. Fine, good, do it that way. And then you just write a tentative thesis statement, right? Just use the examples that I showed you here as a guide, okay? And I'll see what you come up with, and we'll take it from there. I think that's probably the best way to work this. All right. So that by the time you're writing your first draft, you're on your way to having a solid thesis statement. All right. So do that. So the Venn diagram, tentative thesis statement, best you can. Study these examples. And of course, there are other resources on the internet. Whatever helps you. I found this is one of the better ones here. Okay. So I will. Let's see. So this is Saturday here. Look at how 60-year-old man. Look how I spend my Saturday night, huh? So yeah, we will. So that means tomorrow night you'll be finishing your and submitting your revisions of your argumentative essay. I look forward to reading those. You have your usual work for Tuesday, and then Thursday we'll have Orwell. Okay. So any questions, concerns, please email office hours. And still sign up for office hours, please. There's still some of you who haven't. Plagiarism test, those of you who haven't. And by the end of the semester, loop. I gotta do it. Right? So all right, that's enough. I'm way over time. Bye bye.